for tuning in for another episode of Unreal Talk. I'm Brian. That's Dave. So, today, we're going to be doing another verse battle for y'all.
Probably the most ill-advised verse battle we're ever going to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we came up with matches. We thought that would be somewhat,
Okay, conceptually, this sounds like a good idea. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Now, when we actually did a little bit of the research, well, you'll understand in a minute how this.
By the time this video's over, I'm thinking about skipping the trial and going straight to the appeals process. Maybe I can make a plea bargain.
So let's get started, shall we? So who do you have here?
Okay, so let's lay some groundwork here. All right, 1993. Weird time in comic books, a lot of different ideas flying out there. You got like small indie companies like Malibu and people that aren't making generally good comics. But then there's this one comic company called Milestone, and they did a lot of urban-based comics, I think would be the best way to say it.
Yeah, I like Milestone.
Yeah, I mean, they did great stuff. I mean, like, there's actually stuff that we're still seeing today that came from them, like Static Shock started out as Static.
Yeah. Who
wore a Malcolm X hat as part of his superhero outfit instead of the little lightning bolt. Yeah, Malcolm X hat. Just to give you an idea where we're going. Other titles included Blood Syndicate, about a street gang that became kind of superheroes for their neighborhood after they gained special powers in a, crazy event where every gang in the city, kind of like in the Warriors, met up in one place, but they were going to have a big fucking fight, and then the cops hit them with an experimental weapon that killed 90% of them, but gave the other 10% outrageous superpowers.
Like that,
It's like in those riots not too long ago.
Yeah, exactly. At least two of the people went out with superpowers.
That was off. Yeah. That was a little blow of the belt. Okay, moving on. But yeah, there were characters that were really interesting. Like there was one called Tech9, no relation to the rapper, but his power was he could never run out of bullets. He picked up a gun, and as long as he was holding it, it still had bullets. Could you imagine him with that shotgun from the Expendables? Boom, 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 boom. I could do this all day. Boom, 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 boom.
Remember this shit at Christmas.
I'm going to be shooting until Christmas. Boom, boom, boom. But it just kept going.
The logistics of how that works, though.
Yeah. There was a guy who could use his powers to summon fire. One of them was turned into bricks, kind of like the Thing, but made out of,
urban brick.
Just saying, whatever happens to be close. Shapeshifters, a guy who could absorb electricity and get bigger and stronger. Pretty novel ideas. But it was kind of an off-brand. And I don't remember if DC started it as an off-brand or if they just picked it up after the fact. But yeah, eventually DC kind of folded it into their existing universe. So characters like Static and the guy that I'm talking about today, Hardware, yeah, they were folded into the existing universe, so after the whole New 52 thing, these guys actually exist. He's the one who gave Static his flying disc. Mm. Although originally the flying disc was just him using the electricity to make it fly, and it didn't really need anything. But yeah, that's a different thing.
Yeah, but now Hardware is at least still relevant.
Yeah, and for all intents and purposes, he was Iron Man.
An urban Iron Man.
Kinda, yeah. He wasn't actually rich himself, but he worked for the company that made most of this stuff, and he had a secret design lab where he was making his own stuff on the side, basically fighting against the guy he was working for in equipment paid for by the guy he was working for.
It's actually kind of similar to New 52 Steel.
Kinda, yeah. Which is another... But Steel didn't used to be all that cool. He was just some guy in a suit who could kind of do Superman-y things.
Yeah,
because but Hardware was actually more like Iron Man as far as having armor and technology and, art weapons and stuff that can be attached. But, yeah, well, I thought, just in concept, that a battle between Hardware and Iron Man would be a good idea. I forgot a lot of things since 1993, and I also kind of overlooked exactly how far some things have gone. So let's just get this turkey shoot underway.
Yeah, so you've had your introduction of hardware more or less here. Now let me tell you a little bit about Tony Stark.
Dude,
Who doesn't? Yeah, who doesn't know about Iron Man?
3 movies and 2 Avengers in. I think we know Iron Man.
Yeah, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Everybody knows Tony Stark, weapons designer, billionaire, has a heart condition. I mean, the story's changed as to why over the years he had to have something implanted into his chest.
Yeah, Vietnam, the Middle East, disgruntled clone from another timeline.
One of these things, he was like in the Alps on vacation and had a heart attack or something, and he had to like do something quick, I remember. Anyway, you can forget that. That's gone now, the whole chest thing that you remember. You love and remember.
Yeah, let's just keep it simple.
Yeah, so I just chose a random Iron Man armor, basically, because if you know Iron Man, he's had lots of variations of armors over the years. Even the movies, he's had a different armor, at least one in each movie, if not more, that you've seen.
But tell him what tool you've used to butcher the world with this time.
Yeah, I've chosen the Extremis armor.
That's like saying I just accidentally randomly picked the briefcase nuclear bomb out of the box of weapons.
Yeah, I just picked from a hat, and the Extremis armor is basically what came up. So,
God damn it.
So as you'll find out, well, how about this? Let's start here. Why don't you go ahead and tell them, what hardware can do?
Okay, so I'm just going over some of the basics again because I read a lot of this, and there's only so many things that he has on his list. I mean, which granted doesn't give him much of an arsenal. He's got the Omni Cannon. It's what he goes into the most. It's a forearm-mounted cannon. It fires compressed air, which can knock people down from 12 feet. However, shut the fuck up! However, the Omni Cannon can be loaded with 6 shells. Now, this is where things might get a little more interesting. Granted, there's absolutely nothing that can stop Tony Stark in the Extremis armor, because that's basically turning him to the Iron Wolverine. However, how about the Earth's most powerful non-nuclear explosive that can breach enemy fortifications? Octenitribicin, there's a word for it. It's actually got a link. It exists. It is a thing. It's basically a portable bunker buster that he fires out of his air cannon.
Huh.
I know, right?
Tear
gas, armor-piercing, discarding sabot. Basically, it's a solid, sharpened rod of depleted uranium.
Huh.
That'll hurt.
Yeah, that'll hurt.
A lot. Let's see. Razor-sharp darts. Who gives a fuck about that? Bolo, knockout gas. Neural net. Okay, that's an interesting one. A cohesive electrical field that painfully disrupts the nervous system of anyone it touches. That could cause problems. Nanoacid. A swarm of armor-consuming nanorobots.
Huh.
And since in the Extremis armor, Tony is the armor, he could find himself becoming a snack pack.
Yeah.
It's pretty good stuff. But a lot of this hasn't gone through the kind of rigorous testing that Iron Man's armor and weapons have gone through over his however the fuck long it's been career.
Yeah, like 70 years.
Plasma whip. Use it for grappling, extended arm for grabbing. Basically, whiplash. You got a whip. Conducted metal magnets, zap zap. I know, right? So professional. Whip delivers the amount of plasma. Ooh. Massive. Hardware can employ the whip to disintegrate virtually anything it touches via matter-to-energy conversion triggered by a plasma charge.
Huh.
Okay, this fight might not be so bad as I thought. Although, it only has a range of about 15 feet. So basically, what we got here is if Iron Man was like, fuck all this bullet shit. I'm gonna punch someone in the face.
Yeah.
Retractable sword. 4 magnetized blade segments of varying length. So it's kind of like Sulu's sword in that new Star Trek thing with the folding katana. 30 inches long. Altering the polarity of the charge. Blah, blah, blah. Special sleeve. Yeah, the hardware shell alloy, which is actually kind of a plasticized metal thing. Virtually indestructible. Highly bullet resistant, but not bulletproof. That's just what he wears under his actual armor, which is housed in his shoulder pads and is built by nanorobots whenever he needs it. Kind of like the Batmobile armor or the Voyager
just click,
armor.
click. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Energy field. Energy barrier. Okay, so he's got a force field. That's kind of cool. It protects from armor-piercing bullets, energy blasts, and even small explosions. The field is not indestructible, however. Sustained heavy weapons fire will cause the... Oh, fucking hell. Fluid gun. Probably hardware's largest weapon. Oh, it's two. It's two.
It probably weakens him, though, after he uses it.
This weapon shoots streams of various liquids under high pressure to impair the movement of a... Sounds like a portable fire hose. That's all I'm saying.
I love DC characters.
But this wasn't even...
I know. That's what he became when they kept it. They could have recalled him, but no.
Hey, he can also load the fluid gun with a lubricant. So, basically, if he was going to fight the Flash, he would whip this shit on the ground and just wait for Flash to run by and break his fucking neck in the resulting fall. The flow gun. Handgun, specially programmed nanoassemblers. The nanoassemblers leave their pods, travel in the arm. So basically, the gun just builds itself. It's like all of a sudden this goo, there's like this silver liquid comes out of his arm, and then boom, gun. So it's been a while since I've actually read the comics. Oh, he uses non-lethal ammunition. That's cute. Holographic projection systems. Congratulations, you are Arnold Schwarzenegger. Transportation, the Skylark. He's got a flying car.
So he can't fly himself?
Well, he can, but not to the extent that Mr. World Traveler can. Jetpack, there we go. He had a jetpack.
Like hardware? Hardware where?
That's it, I'm out. That is literally all I got. He's trained in martial arts. The suit makes him stronger, but not much. And now for the execution part of our video.
So, anyway, the Extremis armor itself...
Should have made you take the old bucket armor, you dink.
If I knew, I probably would have taken maybe like a second generation armor instead. If I
like the Heroes Reborn armor.
Yeah, actually that was pretty neat.
Yeah, it looks cool, mostly pointless.
or the Iron Man Noir armor, which is basically just the armor from the first Iron Man movie before he had
the one he made in a cave out of spare parts.
Yeah, it was like a little better than that. But let's start. So the Extremis armor was actually Tony's armor that he had created internally. It was nanorobots that he actually wore under his skin.
Well, based on the threat of the Extremis, but he eventually used it himself.
Yeah.
And that made him like super connected to his armor to the point of almost precognition. Okay, he was able to replicate Spider-Man's spider sense.
Yeah, which I didn't even include in here.
Done!
Yeah. There's certain things I didn't put in here to try to make it a fairer fight once I kind of compared notes a little bit with that.
No, let's not worry about a fair fight. Let's just talk about exactly how fucked hardware is.
Alright, so,
Luckily, he's got Icon on speed dial. Yeah, Black Superman.
Yeah. Well, alright, let's do this, alright? I have a list here of things that Iron Man can do in the Extremis armor. But let's just say this fight was a little more realistic. So, Tony had come down, I don't know, maybe 100, 200 feet away from hardware, if necessary. Scan him for any weaknesses.
Well, let's just make this really realistic. Tony Stark hears about Hardware breaking into this evil weapons corporation, but, he doesn't know...
he doesn't know
He doesn't know the guy's a hero, so he just thinks he's breaking in. He scans his weapons and goes, probably shouldn't get too close to this guy, and then makes a call to his orbital satellite and uses his death ray to blow Hardware into ashes.
Yeah, which he could do wearing any armor, but let's...
He could be doing this wearing ducky boxers and a stained coffee robe.
Come out of the shower wearing a shower cap.
Wait, what? Oh, death ray, click.
Yeah, but for the sake of argument, if they were, like, say, face-to-face and Iron Man wanted to, like, see what he was doing up close, yeah, he probably could actually, just cut through Hardware with the, his unibeam, potentially.
Yeah, or at the very least, drive him through the next 2 buildings on the street.
True, which sounds like it would hurt pretty bad because...
Yeah, and Hardware's armor is good, but then again, not many people have a good time being smashed through several buildings, even when they're wearing armor.
And if we play Armorsies, the nano armor that Iron Man wears and the Extremis armor actually mimics the tensile strength of adamantium, which is basically what Wolverine's bones are made out of.
Click, click.
Translation, it's the strongest thing anybody's ever found. Like the strongest metal.
Maybe at least if you'd gone with Ultimate Iron Man, we could have had like a slightly more...
Yeah.
Let's just keep going.
Yeah. Maybe we'll revisit this later, because we're not going to use the same characters twice. So if Iron Man ever pops up again, it's going to be a different Iron Man armor or different Iron Man...
It's going to be Arno Stark, the Iron Man of 2020. Which is actually almost here.
Yeah. That's true, actually.
We should probably do a video about how things that predict the future have let us down horribly.
Yeah, that should be something coming up soon. Yeah. So anyway, let's start this off here with some abilities that Iron Man has. So the Extremis armor has a deep spectrovisual display. Basically, that means he can see any spectrum of light.
Predator vision.
Yeah, predator vision and beyond. It also gives him X-ray vision. It's psychovisual, which means that it's connected directly to his brain. He has a psychoacoustic sound field, meaning that he can hear different spectrums of audio. So yes, he could hear a mouse fart probably from like 2,000 yards away.
Yeah.
An air filtration system. So he can breathe underwater, he can breathe in space, he can fly to space with the armor. He could probably just pick Hardware up and fly him into space if he wanted to get that close, which he didn't have to.
Well, if he did, then he'd be fucked up.
Yeah, he could potentially be hurt by Hardware if he got close enough. He doesn't have to get close enough.
But he doesn't know that at first, so I'm willing to bet he's going to get at least one depleted uranium rod through his shoulder before he goes, "Oh, fuck!" Yeah. Rips it back out, heals it over like Wolverine, and then just flies back off and starts the death ray again.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say about the whole like depleted uranium thing, is that
Spoilers.
the Extremis armor, the nanobots not only heal him, but also heal the armor.
Although it's not necessarily the armor, but more the side effect of the Extremis process. I mean, if you just gave him the armor and took away the nanobots that go in his body and fix him, it might be slightly less like a jock kicking a crippled retard.
Yeah. So, on top of everything else, he has a built-in radar system, so he can detect choice objects from...
downright painful.
From quite a bit of ways. It didn't really say what the range was on it.
I really liked the comics. They were fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
The artwork was astonishing. Lots of really good contrast. You know, you just keep rambling on about the ways that Hardware is going to die, and I'm just going to keep out talking about how awesome the comics were.
Let's say just for the fuck of it, he wanted to get in close, and he knew what Hardware had, so he just wanted to do it.
Oh, he'd figure it out. Once he lost an arm to that whip, like, swip, like, hey, that's kind of, ow!
Well, he might lose an arm to the whip. Like I said, if he wants to be really cautious, the Extremis armor can turn invisible. It has a camo ability.
So, you know what else is really nice? There was actually a lot of different comics. To me, like, Icon was literally Superman, but he was black. That's pretty much all there was to it. He was the last survivor. Really? He was the last survivor of his planet. They shot him into space.
Really?
He actually wound up with a sidekick who had like a special belt that gave her superpowers.
The bad neighborhood of Krypton right there. Anyway, the camo mode, which made him invisible, also made him invisible to radar, too. So technology wouldn't be able to track him either while he was in that one. The repulsors were tricked out with the Extremis armor, so it actually gave him an external force field on top of the adamantium, which was able to stop laser weapons.
But you know, it was really innovative at its time, because no one else had really tackled the subject matter. I mean, there were some highly charged racial issues in every one of those comics.
He had a holographic generator, too. Kind of like how your boy has a generator. He could make other Iron Men if he needed to that were decoy Iron Men. Just saying.
Still have all the comics, you know, issue number 1. I read them all. There's really great, you know, they'll come with a poster.
You know, he didn't really have to use any of that. He can lift 100 tons in the armor. You could just pick him up and just rip him in half like a Mortal Kombat fatality. You know, just saying.
I'm going to apologize. I'm going to apologize to every person who, like myself, really enjoyed Milestone Comics, and maybe you still like the new 52 versions of the character. Personally, I think they're a little watered down because DC doesn't have any balls. Oh my god.
You know, with laser fingertips, he could probably have just, like, you know... He had lesser weapons, like metal balls that shot out from, like... They're magnetic. They had explosives on them, but still... So anyway, tell us down below who you think won this fight. Hardware or Iron Man?
We just changed the picture of Hardware to a tombstone right now. The people rest, Your Honor. There's no case here. I wish there was, because, I mean, Hardware could have been so much cooler, but he was just kind of pawned off as the Obi-Wan to Static Shock's Anakin Skywalker, more or less.
Alright, here's a scenario. Let's say there's an MP, you know, an MP3 blast. I'm blue, da-boo-dee, da-boo-da.
I don't know, I think I was going with Natural Born Killers instead.
Yeah. Anyway.
Then New Jack shows up and kills everybody.
Let's say that their armors were, like, you know,
not
disabled somehow. You said that, you said Hardware is a martial arts master,
right? Yeah, he knows martial arts.
Yeah. I couldn't find anywhere Tony Stark particularly is adept at hand-to-hand combat other than just, you know...
Well...
Hey, I'm trying to give you something
I
here,
know,
okay?
but I mean, I shouldn't say it, but I have to for fairness. You know, Tony Stark has been without the armor before, and he's gotten along pretty okay. You know why?
Why is that?
Because he's getting fight training from Captain fucking America. It's right up there with the old Black Widow thing.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, that won't save him in an out-and-out fight, because I'm pretty sure Hardware's got some pounds on Tony. Mm-hmm. But... yeah.
Okay, let's say that something happens to Iron Man's armor specifically, and so he has to go up against Hardware without help for some reason, and decides.
Just like
did I mention Tony's a super genius?
Yeah, well, so's Hardware. I mean, if not for the fact that Iron Man has had an extra 40 or 50 years of development over Hardware, they'd probably be on equal ground. I mean, if we had our dedicated writer who would put the kind of effort into Hardware that Marvel's put into Iron Man, we would have an equivalent base.
I promise, folks, next time the fight will be... a little more even. In theory, on paper, when we first came up with this fight, it seemed...
the concept, somebody just wrecked it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this flintlock dueling pistol. Oh, and my friend here will have the Desert Eagle.
I'm just gonna sit in this tank and relax. And on the count of 3, like, click.
In theory, I could still win this with a dueling pistol. But man, that'd be a fuck of a shot.
Alright, so, yeah. If you like this video...
If you've got any suggestions for superhero battles that don't include Batman or Wolverine, put those in the comments too.
But I've got one thing for you.
And if you say Superman versus Goku, I swear to fuck. I swear to fuck I will find you and fuck your girlfriend.
I say normal continuity Batman. I am willing to accept certain Batmen. Not all Batmen are created equal.
What, like Gaslight Batman? All steampunk Sherlock Holmed out?
Or how about crazy, is that one multicolored Batman with, like, all the ripped up shit?
Oh, yeah. That was weird.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, like, comment down below. Whatever the fuck you want to do, as long as you're subscribing and not hitting the unlike button.
I would hit the unlike button on this video. I might actually do that.
Don't listen to him. Plus, you know, it'd be very bizarre if the Hulk just dropped down in the middle of a jewel heist and, you know, ate Catwoman.